Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel for our weekly news recap. Um, this one should be a little bit shorter. I think hopefully we've all survived the crazy Hot Toys exclusive onslaught. It was starting from last week. It was what a new exclusive pre-order in the sideshow queue, um, nonstop. I'll tell you my horror story was Monday's Black Widow artisan drop. I was on my phone and I was on a computer and I had her in my cart. I was at number 2,000, so, uh, pretty pretty much in the play to get her, right? And I added her on my phone, and then even though I was logged in when I went into the queue, all of a sudden I get an alert saying I'm not logged in. So I'm rushing to try to log in. Sideshow's crashing. Then on the computer, everything keeps going slow. And then at some point, I managed to get her in the cart on the computer. So I'm at checkout, and then it says that the payment information I have is not valid, which is insane because it's the one I always use. So go back through the process, repurchase, and then I just kept getting like the gray screen where everything is grayed out and timed out, and then it finally went through. So that was probably the most stressful of the pre-orders. I think everybody was noticing that Sideshow was crashing, whether it was on the phone or on the website. So uh, finally got her though, and then it looked like they got things. Sideshow got things on track for the rest of them because they were, the Joker exclusive, the what was the other artisan, the Tom Holland artisan. Um, all those seem to go off without a hitch. And what's interesting too about those is, even though they were artisan DX, and they were exclusive and limited, um, you could actually go on and onto Sideshow's site way after the initial flurry of activity for the queue, and they were still up for order. They all did eventually go to waitlist. The Joker, I think, was still available at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock when I checked. It was on low stock warning, and then it eventually went to waitlist. But it seems like that 3,000 to 4,000 mark, for exclusives are really the sweet spot for Hot Toys and Sideshow, where, um, and for more importantly for us as collectors, where it's not that much of a struggle to get it. If you want the figure, you will be able to get it, even if you miss out on the queue or you're a later number. Um, so that's just something to keep in mind. Once it goes down to 1,500, that's where things go insane, right? That's where if you're not in the queue, you're out of it. But yeah, so for me, I ended up getting the artisan Black Widow, which I wanted. I do want the Joker, but it wasn't that expensive actually. It's about 460, so 500 all in. So maybe it was expensive. So I ended up deciding to just go with the plastic, the sculpted hair. That one just looks a little bit better to me. I'm not as huge into the artisan, right? I think for a figure like Black Widow or like Wanda Maximoff, it makes sense. But I'm not going to be picking up every single artisan. It's just too expensive, and I think it would limit my ability to pick up other figures. So kudos to those of you who got them because they do look great. I just for that one I opted to go with the sculpted, and then for the Tom Holland Iron Spider, same thing, sculpted. So it became not too crazy of a week for me. But look, we still got some news stories. Obviously, we're still coming off of the highlights of San Diego Comic Con, ACGHK. So it's not much, but there's the hype for Deadpool continues. So let's get right into it. And we're going to start with Hot Toys really unrelenting at this point in time because they're just still they dropped all those exclusives that were going up for order, and then they dropped Ladypool, which should not be a surprise to any of us, right? The fact that during ACGHK she was introduced, and that they had already provided some of these prototype images that we're used to from them, that was a pretty good indication that this figure was coming. So without much of a surprise, she's here. Look, it's Deadpool. I think we talked about her. She has some, obviously, besides being a woman, she's got some variations in the suit and the overall design. Now, she does come with wool hair material for the hair, so it's not doll material. Um, Look, I don't think it's a big deal that they're not calling this artisan because this isn't that hair implantation. Um, Kind of specialization that Hot Toys is talking about with their artisan. This looks great though, and I think. we never saw this in the movie. Spoilers, right? We never saw them interact this way in the movies, Deadpool Prime and Ladypool. But this is kind of cool. I do like the couch. I don't know where they got this from, but part of me does kind of want it. Look, as far as the figure itself, very simple. She comes with the swords and with the Uzis. This is not included with her, right? This is included with the deluxe Deadpool. I think she looks great, right? She looks great for a variant. She was one of the variants with the most screen time. She seems to pose well. I like the texturing in the suit because this isn't that pleather material. There's a little bit more give to it. And again, the red and black is pretty awesome. She also does come with another version of Dogpool. So I think by the time we get a bunch of these, we're gonna see Dogpool coming with a bunch of different figures, right? So it's cute here. If you guys spoilers again, um, Ladypool was voiced by Ryan Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively. And then the kid pool and the baby pool were actually their kids or voiced by their kids. So it's kind of a nice family shot when you think about that. Look, as far as the details, what does she come with? The same interchangeable eyes, which we've become used to. She comes with the dog. She's a much more basic figure, but if you like the movie like I did, and want to have your Deadpool core and some variants, she's definitely a very appealing figure to get. So I think this is just the first of many that we're going to be getting from the movie. And I still owe you guys kind of my spoiler look at that. I might publish that on Monday. Full disclosure on that one, I had done a video um, kind of covering the San Diego Comic Con Marvel announcements and Deadpool and Wolverine, and for some reason the audio was completely trash, so I just wasn't able to redo it. So I'll redo it this weekend and publish it next week. Just giving you my thoughts about Deadpool and Wolverine, some of the variants we might be getting, and then looking at the slate of announcements that we got from San Diego Comic Con, including the big one about RDJ coming back as Doctor Doom. So we'll talk about that in another video. But it's still pretty cool that we're getting this from Hot Toys, and not to be outdone by just announcements, we did get a release, which was the 89 2.0 DX Michael Keaton Batman. Look, I have the original and I love that figure. I actually think I know the suit has issues in the cape. Um, the cape is this weird leathery material. Mine is not deteriorating as of yet, so I've been very fortunate with that. But look, um, let's start with the online talk, which has been the texturing on the suit. Some people are not big fans of that. I have to go back to the movie and remember to see if it is this textured. I know this is how it was shown in the promo pic. So um, it seems like Hot Toys is giving us pretty much what they wanted, what they offered. Um, do I mind the texturing? I don't. I think it looks pretty cool. Uh, but again, I'm not speaking for everybody, right? I can only speak for myself. I do think the diorama base is awesome. I think having the gargoyle, the the brick wall, and then this kind of damaged wooden staircase, very much from that final battle. Look, I think he looks great. The sculpt work looks pretty decent. Um, I didn't get this one. Full disclosure. Look, I think this looks very much like Michael Keaton from the movie, so I can't fault Hot Toys for that as well. But I ended up not getting this because I was happy with my first. And again, even with the limited posability on that first one, mine isn't damaged. So to me, there just wasn't an incentive necessarily to pick it up. Now, watch me say that and then go look at my current 89 and it's starting to fall apart. Then I might want to pick this one up. I do have to say I like the cape. The material of the cape is much more of a velvety material as opposed to that plasticky feeling original cape that didn't drape well. So I think that's definitely a highlight. Look, if you're an 89 fan, I think he looks great. I do understand some of the people complaining about the texture. I don't think it's that bad, and I think some of it might be um, lighting overall, but that's about it. So again, I think Hot Toys is starting to continuing to release figures. Um, Look, it's a machine at this point. They've got so many releases every time, announcements. They're continuing to fire on all cylinders, and I don't think we should expect that to stop anytime soon. So, Batman '89 released, but right, they're not the only company in the game. And finally, it looks like we're getting some other companies coming out of the woodworks. I mean, InArt came out last week with a couple of announcements and some slight fiasco. But what's interesting here is, and let me lower the volume on this video. But what's interesting here is, and this is courtesy to Nanjin Tam, who's the CEO of Exo 6. He posted this on his Facebook page, which is a video of the current Star Trek Expo. So we're gonna pause this a lot because he does go through a bunch of the booths. So look, I know Exo 6 is a very niche market. It's not for everybody. So let me try to find a good stopping point. So a lot of fans of Star Trek have been looking for the original series. So it looks like he's finally responded. Exo 6 is finally doing that. I do like this diorama base where it's got the consoles and the captain's chair. So you're seeing a couple of versions of Captain Kirk, Sulu, Spock, McCoy, and you're seeing a Gorn as well here. These two were announced in their variations of, I think they were variations um, of Kirk. So the video is kind of quick, but let me see if I can. Let me pause it and we'll go frame by frame. So, Star Trek Voyager, we've already gotten that full line, so I'm not really going to discuss that now. Discovery, Star Trek Discovery is a show that has had a lot of mixed reactions. Um, I've enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was, were there moments where you kind of roll your eyes, sure, but I thought it was very entertaining overall. And I'm happy to see that they are doing a Captain Philippa Georgiou. She was in the first season, in the first episode, and she made an impact. And obviously, she returned from the mirror universe as Empress Georgiou or Emperor Georgiou. So I'm looking forward to getting both of those. Um, Great characters and great portrayals. You are getting some Enterprise figures. That's not for me. Um, let's see what else. We're getting Savick. They didn't show anything else. Oh, we are getting from Star Trek, from Strange New Worlds. There was that crossover episode with Lower Decks where they're showing us kind of these other figures. So I'm definitely looking forward to those. That's kind of a nice, unique little twist on things. So I appreciate that they're doing that. You're getting Garrick from DS9. Um, I'm gonna be a little more restricted on what I get from DS9 just because there's so much coming out. Um, and I do like Strange New Worlds. So from TNG, we're getting Beverly Crusher. So they had a ton of figures here that were on display, right? Guinan, Chief O'Brien. Exo 6 is doing a lot of things, and they're getting a lot of stations into the diorama game. So if you're a Star Trek fan, and I think that's the big if, right? If you're a Star Trek fan, Wesley Crusher is a no for me. Not a big fan of the character at all. But if you're a fan of the series, you're starting to get lines fully fleshed out. And it's nice that you're also getting those diorama pieces because I do feel like sometimes these figures are unfortunately a little simple. And I don't think that's necessarily a problem, but if you're a collector, I think that's definitely something that elevates those figures. Now we are still getting I think it's Vatic from Picard season 3. She looks great. You're getting the regeneration chambers. Picard we already got. We've got Shaw in order. They teased Captain 7. This Worf has been teased a couple of times. So look, there's a ton of great there were a ton of great announcements and great reveals. Um, Now it's just getting them in hand. So DS9, I think again, I've got Cisco. I might get some other characters here or there. Not really going to go deep in that one. Strange New World, I do like that crew, so I'm probably going to go a little bit, maybe all in that one. So even getting those two lower deck characters, TNG is a must, and then Picard season 3 as the progression of TNG is definitely another must. So pretty interesting and nice to see that another company stepping in there. They used to have a booth with Sideshow, and of course, since Sideshow doesn't go to San Diego anymore, there's not much you can do about that, right? Now, last kind of news story we're going to talk, and I told you this was going to be a relatively short video, but this is going to be an interesting one. So, J&D Studios is Kojun line. We knew they were going to jump into Harry Potter, right? So go into competition within art. And we knew they were doing this Kojun Lite line, which is going to be a sculpted plastic head sculpt. to save you money because their figures came out of the market out of the gate at a ridiculous price. I think it was anywhere from 1,000 to $2,000 depending on which version you got. So the Kojun Lite line is coming in, I think, at 312. So again, for a kid figure, a little pricey, especially when you consider, for example, the Stranger Things kids are coming in at about 170. So you're talking about a pretty dramatic price difference, right? It's double for the same size figure and limited accessories, which we'll get into. Of course, in our n- m- not much better, right, at the 500 plus mark, but at least I can kind of argue for myself. They're coming with diorama pieces, they come with a lot of accessories. So maybe I can justify it a little bit. But look, I was very excited about this. J&D, man. I don't know. I don't know what their future holds or if they're going to be in in the game that long. I'll see if this sells out. I think they're limiting this to 5,000, which is kind of a lofty goal, I think, especially for this IP. Now, look, tailoring on this looks decent, right? I'm not going to complain about that, but it comes down to the sculpt. Um, the hair looks okay. The sculpted hair looks fine. Actually, no, it just looks okay. The expression is the same one that InArt is giving us, which maybe that's the expression that was approved. I think it's interesting. There's just something about this that looks off to me. There's just something that doesn't quite resonate. Um, I can kind of see the likeness, but he almost looks like a an old man. I mean, this looks better. Maybe it's a function of lighting, but it just doesn't look great. And look, um, am I gonna give the win to InArt? Yeah, I think InArt has the better looking figure. All right, of the 2 currently in the market, um, and he comes with his wand. I do like this backdrop that they're doing with the full Gryffindor common room. Um, I kinda wish they'd offer that for sale. I'd pay a decent amount for that because it looks good. Look, texture on the hands looks fine. Um, everything looks fine, I guess. It's just when you're going in to compete against another company, I think you have to be better than fine to top them. I like the chicken legs. The in-art version has it. It's very Ron Weasley. I just I keep looking at these pictures and I can't really get that excited about them, right? Maybe it's definitely the sculpt, and I think the right. You get the textbooks, which are fine. You get the letters. You get 3 hands. Um, and the 2 drumsticks, and that's it, right? I like the chessboard, but how can you even display the chessboard, right? It's gonna sit on the floor of his, display stand or wherever you're displaying them, right? There's no table for it. At least the in-art version gives you a table for it. So, um, when you start going looking at all those pieces, I don't know. Now this is their light version. I'm curious what their deluxe is gonna be, their premium, because that one's obviously gonna be rooted and it's gonna be more expensive because it has not the silicone sculpt. Um, but are they gonna bump up the number of accessories? I would hope so, because if they're gonna just do that as the upgrade and the same accessories, no way. And then they're supposed to be also dropping Harry and Hermione at the same time, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. I'd almost prefer them just to do that backdrop from the Gryffindor common room. I'd see if I could buy that from them. And then what else is left, really? They do have that limited version that's supposed to be the Harry Potter from the Quidditch uniform that I'm interested in seeing. But again, if these are the pictures that we're going by, I don't know. I think it's an interesting license that J&D picked. I'm excited for the license, but this figure, when you compare to the InArt one that's already out for pre-order, the question is who's going to buy 2 of these, right? Um, if it was markedly different, I might be tempted, but they're very similar expressions. Um, the InArt one's giving me much more, to be honest, and as well it should for the price. So I just don't know. I'm curious to see what else gets dropped, but the reaction to this figure online has been extremely negative. I'm not sure how receptive InArt is to that feedback. Sorry, J&D is to that feedback, but it's not good. Um, we'll see if they sell out those 5,000 figures, or they said until they might not even get to 5,000. Right, it'll be until the pre-order window closes. They're giving us about a month to order. Um, I'm curious what the deluxe ones look like, the premium versions, but I don't know. I don't know. Kojun works. This whole approach they've taken right from the launch of the Joker, again, giving us another Joker on top of the in arts, which was decent, the Hot Toys Artisan, which looks like it's going to be amazing. Um, this one to be the most expensive and kind of be the more subpar of the three. Um, Again, nobody has it in hand, so maybe in hand it'll be different. But to be at least based on the promo shots, to be the more subpar of the three, it's not great. Then they had that Bruce Wayne that is essentially a statue, and you're just paying for Bruce Wayne figure with a Batman statue. Also not great. And now you're getting into the Harry Potter thing with the sculpt that just it's a miss. I don't know how you if this figure with three zeros at 179, 100% worth it. At $312, doesn't come with any accessories. What are you really paying for? You're paying for a smaller figure with a not great head sculpt. So I think that's saying a lot. So look, I'm still excited to excited is the wrong thing. I'm still interested to see where this goes. And I'm interested to see next week is when there's dropping the full pre-order. So I'm interested to see all of the figures revealed. Um, but I just have to I feel like Kojun Works continues to stumble. And when you're trying to compete against, let's say, Inart, who's already come up with a couple of figures, and sure, Inart's not. I feel like they're going through a rough patch of their own as far as news stories with the Joker pricing and some QAQC issues. But when you start going through all of that and you start looking at um, Kojun Works coming in and really stumbling, it's not great, and I don't think it bodes well for them in the future. But we'll see. Who knows? I don't wish for any company to kind of fail because I want figures, right? Like collectors, we want companies to produce figures that we want to get. So I'm just curious to see where this goes and how this develops for them, because right now I don't see the excitement for the brand that we see this week. We saw Hot Toys killing it. Everybody was excited. Everybody was talking about Hot Toys nonstop. The exclusives, the releases that have been dropping, Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine. Right, what's coming from that movie? In our had some negatives, but they also wowed with some of their Walking Dead announcements and the like. So they've still got some good standing in the community to a degree. Um, but again, Kojin Works. This hasn't been a good week for them, and not a good reveal. And I think it's now the third figure in the line that they're doing their Kojin Works product line, and I don't think any of them have gotten this great reception that they expected. So maybe they don't care. Maybe the market that they're targeting will still come after and help them out. But right now, it just doesn't seem like that's it. So look, again, short video, not much going on, and I will follow up next week with that Marvel look at Marvel, which I've been wanting to do for a while. Reviews, I was going to do a bunch of reviews this week and then just got insanely busy. And also with the pre-orders and everything going on, my attention was focused elsewhere. So hopefully reviews come back next week. I've got a ton of figures here and a couple incoming too. So it'll be a nice, just constant, updating. So that'll come next week. But again, that's it. Pretty slow news week, but pretty decent overall. Some very interesting things worth discussing, especially that Ladypool. I'm all in for that line right now. Maybe not all in. I'm not going to say that, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting a couple of things from that line. So Hot Toys continuing to kill it, and then Exo 6 delivering some kind of nice looking figures overall. So look, thanks for listening in and watching for a little bit. And if you're enjoying the content, please consider dropping a like, comment, or subscribing, and we'll touch base on the next video.